Hey, what's going on, guys? Chris Carvalho with CarvalhoFitness.com. So, today, what we're going to be talking about is what are your protein requirements and making sure that you're going to meet them, whether you're in a calorie surplus, so you're trying to bulk, or whether you're in a deficit, you're cutting down, trying to get to new levels of body fat. Um, you may be just maintaining, you're happy where you are, and you're just eating at maintenance. We're going to be covering right now how much protein do you need for your individual goals, your personal body size, your lifestyle, everything that you need to know. All right, so starting off, let's just start off with maintenance because it's basically the easiest one. So, what you're going to do is, if you are not familiar with how to go about calculating your maintenance calories, you're just going to do a simple Google search. Just search TDEE calculator. That's total daily energy expenditure calculator. It's going to ask you some simple stuff like your sex, your age, your activity level. Normally, that's your working activity level, so you're going to have to plug in an estimate. So if you are like a bank teller or an office worker, you would be the most sedentary option. Then you have lightly active, which is more like teacher. You're like on your feet. You may be a salesperson, so you're standing, but you're not very active. But at least it's better than being seated all day. So that's the lightly active. Then you have the active person. You may be, uh, you're more active. You're moving around. I don't know what the category exactly would be. Like, what are some examples? And then you have the highly active. Those are the construction workers. Those are people that are lugging around a lot of weight. They're working on their feet, strenuous work all day. So you're gonna choose that. Try to be honest, because if you bump up your activity level, it's gonna throw off your calories by 1 to 200 calories a day. And if you're lying to yourself, you'll eat more, and then you're not going to see as good of results. When in doubt, aim lower. So I always pick the most sedentary option for myself. Then, depending on the calculator you use, if you use the one that's on iifym.com, which is if it fits your macros, that one will actually ask you how long you work out, like minutes, and how many days. So if you do 3 days and you do like 60 minutes of weights and then 30 minutes of cardio, you plug in 90 minutes for 3 days. And it's pretty good at calculating what your maintenance calories would be because that's your TDEE. So you're going to look at those calories and then you got your calorie number. So the reason we start off with that is because with maintenance, it's going to be the easiest, you know. So your protein goal, there's scientific studies that they recommend, I believe it's 0.82 grams per pound of body weight. That is the optimal amount of protein that you should be taking in. Now, that is assuming that you are relatively lean, or if you're a little on the heavier side, it's perfectly okay to go with lean body weight. That way, you have a more accurate number. You could also go with ideal body weight. So if you are 250 pounds and you're hoping to get down to 180, it's perfectly okay to use the 180 as a figure. So a lot of you have probably heard 1 gram per pound of body weight. And yes, that is a great number to go with. That is personally what I recommend you do. 1 gram per pound of lean or ideal body weight. And the reason is because people just like to round and make math easier. So the 0.82, you got to have a calculator or be good at math. If you just round up to 1, it makes life a lot easier. If you're aiming for 180 pounds, that's your goal weight. Just have 180 grams of protein in your day. And if you're doing intermittent fasting like I am, it's up to you how many meals you want to have. Me personally, what I'm doing right now is I'm having 2 meals a day with a couple snacks. So some people will call that 4 meals, but in reality, I have like 2 big meals, so I call those meals, and then the snacks, it's like just other eating periods. But so I try to get the majority of my protein in those 2 meals. So me being right now 135 pounds, I'm actually aiming a little higher, but we'll get into that later. So I try and get 2 meals with a decent amount of protein. So basically about half and half. So I got all my protein out of the way, and then a little extra with snacks if I happen to get some protein in there. So like for snacks, I mean like I might have a serving of peanut butter because I want to get my fats up a little bit, and it just comes with some protein, so that's fine. Or if I want to get a little bit of carbs, I might have some cereal. And if you have cereal with milk, you're going to be getting a little bit of protein there too. But that's not going to be the majority of my protein. Big part of my protein is going to be coming from my meals. So with maintenance, if you go 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're going to be golden. You know, you could even err on the lighter side and go to the 0.8 if you are one of those people that does not really enjoy having high protein in their diets. That's up to you. Me personally, I love protein. I couldn't really imagine having a meal that had less than like 8 ounces of chicken breast. So for me, it's easy to hit my protein goal. So I'm gonna go a little on the higher side because that's what works for me. But if I get to the point in my diet that I need to slash some calories and my carbs are already low and my fats are already as low as it's healthy to go, then yeah, I'll cut my protein a little bit if it's already excessive. But you could also add in 20 minutes of cardio, and then you earn more calories that you could eat more food. But that's all personal preference. So so that's maintenance. The 1 gram, you're perfectly fine. You can go down to the 0.8, you're perfectly fine. There's really no need to go above 1 gram per pound of body weight or ideal body weight when you're maintaining because you have so many calories to work with. You have no fear of losing any muscle in this diet. You're not worried about going catabolic basically at any point. So, and having more is not going to build you any more muscle. You're not going to like speed it up and just like, that would be like steroids maybe. That's why some of those guys are eating like 2 and 3 grams per pound of body weight. That's crazy. You don't need that. You'll go broke doing that. Protein's kind of expensive. So going on to a bulk, if you were bulking, you have even less of a reason to need protein. You don't need to go super high because now you're having a surplus. You're maybe having 500 calories of a surplus. Those extra calories are going to come from mostly carbs, so you fuel your workouts, and you're going to be having a little bit more fat just to bump up your testosterone production and regulate your hormones. You've got to make sure that's in check first before adding in extra carbs. So you never want to be too low on fats. That would be dangerous. So when bulking, I'd recommend, like for the fat, just go 0.5 times your body weight. So for a 200-pound male, you might want to start off with 100 grams of fat. But that'll be another video. We'll cover fat intake. But for protein, the 0.8, if you want to keep the math simple, just go for your lean body mass times the 1 gram. It's perfectly safe. You're going to, if you don't hit your goal every day of protein, you're still perfectly fine because, like I said, you have so many carbs to work with. Your body is going to be using that protein just to build muscle. It's going to be using it the most effective way possible. So then, once again, that's pretty easy. Then if you're cutting, this is where it gets into that little gray area. It's like different. It's not necessarily the 1 gram. So the 1 gram is for maintaining and bulking, and even the early stages of cutting. So you just go in a 500 calorie deficit. Let's say that you are happy with your weight loss, you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, good stuff. You can at 1 gram pound of ideal body weight, you'll be in a good ballpark. But as you get leaner, let's say you already have abs and you're around like the 10% mark. Now, every time you try and get leaner and leaner, it's going to be hard. Worried burning fat, or is a lot of your muscle going out the window? You don't want to be worried about that. So, obviously, at the bare minimum, you want that 1 gram per pound of body weight, just total body weight at that point, because you don't have to worry about lean mass because you're already lean. So, for me right now, 135 pounds. Starting off, I'm going to be hitting 135 grams protein every day. But now, since I'm going to be cutting for a few more weeks, and I'm trying to get down to, right now I'm like 12 to 13% body fat. So not super lean. So I don't have to be that worried about it. But I'm trying to get into the habit because going forward, I'm trying to get below 10%, closer to the 8% if possible. So we'll see how that progresses. But since you're going to like new body fat areas that you haven't been before, it's gonna be harder for your body to adjust to that. So what you're going to be trying to do is bumping up your protein a little bit. There's a few reasons for this. First of all, protein is very satiating. So as you're dieting down, your calories are going to be lower and lower. As you adjust to a new body weight, you're going to have to lower your calories again just to reach new plateaus, cross new plateaus, and it's going to be harder and harder for your body to get full or even satisfied. So what you can do is add more vegetables. That fills you up. Drink a lot of water. That will fill your stomach and give you the sensation of being full. But with actual food, you want to increase your protein because protein is one of the most filling of the macronutrients. That and fat. But fat is 9 calories per gram, whereas protein is only 4. So you're going to be getting that full feeling, and you're going to be hitting your protein goal, all while keeping your calories lower. So what I recommend you do is eat more chicken breast or egg whites. You could do protein shakes, but protein shakes, drinking your calories, it's not as filling. So what I highly recommend, bump up your calories. Um, sorry, bump up your protein. So what you're going to be doing is, since I'm 135, I'm actually aiming for about 160 a day, which ends up being right around the 1.2, 1.3 times body weight area. And I feel that that is a good number because if you could go as high as 1.5 and there's no negative consequences except obviously you're going to spend a little more money on protein, but it's not that huge of a difference. It's not like we're saying go double what you should have, but so I'm going to have 2 meals a day and then some snacks. The snacks are mostly going to be carbs and fat sources. That's just to fill in the voids. I plug everything into MyFitnessPal, and it's just a great way to keep track of where you are day to day. And as long as I'm below on my calories, which right now I'm aiming for 1,600 calories for my height, my activity level, that's pretty good. I should be losing 1 pound to a pound and 1.25 pounds a week. That's a pretty safe, pretty slow process. So let me just show you a sample meal. This is basically what I'm going to be doing for the next couple weeks, kind of like this. So if you guys saw in the thumbnail, I already showed you guys this. But basically, so right here we have 8 ounces of oven baked chicken breast. You guys can search up my baked oven baked chicken breast recipe video if you guys want to see how I made this. And then I have 2 red potatoes. I weigh everything out. It's very important that you guys weigh out your foods because it can vary drastically. So we have 8 ounces of chicken breast, and we have 150 grams of red potatoes. And then for dipping sauce, I went with 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. Also, with the barbecue sauce, don't use a spoon and actually measure it out by tablespoons. Use your food scale, put the bottle on the scale, tear it out, and then actually measure the grams. That's the most accurate way, and you don't get a spoon dirty. So you're gonna do that. So it ends up being like 37 grams of barbecue sauce. It was like 60 calories. This whole meal is under 600 calories, and I'm getting roughly 80 grams of protein in this meal. So about half of my protein is done for the day, and that's meal one. I do intermittent fasting, so right now it's about 1:30. So 1:30, I'm breaking my fast with this meal. It has some carbs, pretty much no fat in this meal. I'm gonna be getting the fat in the snacks throughout the day, and the 80 grams of protein. That's great. So great way to kickstart the day. Now with meal number two, you guys probably noticed from this one, there's no vegetables. I'm saving my vegetables for nighttime. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be having probably another chicken meal because I meal prepped a lot of chicken, so it's more convenient for me. So I'll be having another 8 ounces of chicken breast and no potatoes, no carbs in that meal. I will instead be having a lot of vegetables, probably somewhere in the 8 to 12 ounces of broccoli, and I might throw in some olive oil, make it like a stir fry, something like that, just to get my fats in for the day. And yeah, there's that. And then you got my protein. This is the protein powder I'm using right now. This is the Impact Whey protein. This one is strawberry cream. Pretty good flavor. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the natural strawberry. But these guys, if you go to their website, they have like 40 plus flavors of protein powders. It's crazy. But just to give you an idea, if you don't want to eat this much chicken, you could simply just substitute a couple scoops of this. Like if I was in an extreme hurry and I had to run out of the house right now, I wouldn't be eating this meal. I would instead just grab my shaker bottle, probably do like 2 to 3 scoops of this protein powder, mix it with water. I'm out the door. If I did 3 scoops, each scoop is 100 calories. So we're looking at 300 calories. And we'd be getting 60 grams of protein. Similar to this meal, except I'd be saving all my carbs and fats for later. So it's really personal preference. That's a great way to hit the road if you're in a hurry. But I don't really rely on protein shakes. That's just a convenience for me. So whenever I'm in a hurry, that's where I go with that. There's some great snacks. One of these days I'll do a review on like Power Crunch bars. Amazing. Those taste like Kit Kats. And so it's very simple. If you are cutting, you want to bump up your protein a little bit. At least 1 gram per pound of body weight if you're starting off. I don't want to overwhelm you and make you go overboard, especially if you're new to dieting and you're not really used to a high protein diet. Start off with the 1 gram. But as you diet down, try going to the 1.2 and maybe 1.3 as you get super shredded and lean. But then when you go back to your maintenance, you're bumping up your calories, then go back down to the 1. And then as you go into a bulk, maybe you're fine with the 0.8, because if you're eating like 3,000 calories and you got high carb and even if you get 20% of your daily calories coming from fat, which is kind of low, 20% out of the 3,000 calories, that is a lot of fat. So you got your fat met perfectly and you got high carbs, then your body doesn't really need the protein as much. It's going to use that protein just for building muscle, which is perfect. That's what you want. So that 0.8 per pound of body weight, 200-pound man, you get around the 160 mark, you're pretty good. That's probably going to be more than enough, but it's up to you. If you enjoy higher protein foods, go ahead, have a bigger piece of steak with your meal, you know. It's just a ballpark figure. That's what you want to set your MyFitnessPal to, because there's a minimum you want to hit every day. And then the rest is just eat to satiety, keep your calories in check. If one day you have a higher protein and higher fat day, just lower your carbs. It's like a scale. You just want to balance it out, because if you go high on everything, you're definitely going to be over on your calories. So keep that in mind. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, you enjoyed seeing what I eat on a typical day when I'm cutting a sample meal at least. If you guys want to see a full day of eating or a grocery haul video, let me know. Leave it all in the comment section below. I try to respond to every comment that you guys leave, so leave it down below. Let's start a little conversation with everybody. What your opinions are. What do you set your protein goals to? And don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Make sure to turn that on. It lets you know as soon as I post a video. You either get a little notification on your YouTube app or it shoots you an email. That way you don't miss out on any of this stuff. All right, guys, that is all I have for you right now. I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.